FreenBecky launched their own agencies, fans divided over the big change. The entertainment world is still buzzing after the news that Freen Sorocha and Becky Armstrong have officially launched their own agencies. What began as quiet online posts quickly turned into one of the most talked-about developments in Thai pop culture this year. For years, Freen and Becky weren't just co-stars. They were a symbol of chemistry, loyalty, and shared growth. Their names became almost inseparable. Whether on stage, in interviews, or behind the scenes, fans always saw a deep connection between them. So when both stars suddenly announced their new agencies within days of each other, it didn't take long for confusion, pride, and curiosity to flood social media timelines. Was this an end? Or the beginning of something even greater? The announcement that started it all. It all began with two quiet posts, one from Freen, one from Becky, that sent shockwaves through the fandom. Freen wrote on X, "New journey. Same heart. Grateful for every chapter that led me here." Becky followed with her own heartfelt message. "Thank you for growing with me." The story continues, just in a different form. Neither mentioned each other directly, yet the timing was impossible to ignore. Both posts came within hours of each other, almost like a coordinated moment of change. Within minutes, hashtags like #FreenBeckyNewEra, #FreenAgency, and #BeckyAgency began trending across Thailand, the Philippines, and beyond. The tone online was mixed. Some celebrated, others panicked. But one thing was clear. Everyone was watching. Fans react. Pride meets heartbreak. The fandom's response was immediate and emotional. For some, this was an empowering move. Fans praised their courage for stepping into independence after years of working under shared management. "They've earned this. They deserve to grow freely," one fan wrote. But for others, the announcement carried a sting of fear. "It feels like we're losing something special," another fan commented. "They've always been together. Why separate now?" Threads flooded with theories. Some claimed it was a business decision. Others feared a personal fallout. And many simply couldn't believe it was real. On TikTok, fan edits began circulating with captions like, "New agencies, same bond," and "Maybe distance can't break what's real." The emotion was raw, global, and unstoppable. A quiet plan months in the making. Industry sources suggest this move wasn't sudden. Behind the scenes, both Freen and Becky had reportedly been preparing for this step for several months, building teams, designing logos, and developing strategies that would allow them more creative control over their careers. Freen, known for her calm leadership, was said to be deeply involved in every detail, from selecting her management staff to planning her upcoming solo projects. Becky, meanwhile, has reportedly been working with a young creative team, focusing on broadening her international presence and exploring acting, fashion, and music ventures simultaneously. A close source told a local outlet, "It's not a breakup. It's expansion. They're both moving forward in ways that reflect who they are now." Subtle clues in their words. Fans, as always, picked up on every detail. In Becky's post, she used the phrase "different form." To many, this was a quiet nod to Freen, a reassurance that their story wasn't ending. Meanwhile, Freen's choice of words, "same heart," felt equally symbolic. Within hours, fans were connecting both posts, describing them as two halves of the same message. On social media, one fan wrote, "It's like they planned this together." The words matched too perfectly. The idea that Freen and Becky coordinated their announcements, not to distance themselves, but to express mutual growth, became the dominant narrative among supporters. Industry reactions, a bold power move. Entertainment insiders are calling this one of the most strategic career moves in Thai entertainment. In an industry often dominated by restrictive contracts, launching personal agencies represents independence and confidence. One journalist described it as the FreenBecky effect, the moment when two of Thailand's most influential young stars redefined what autonomy looks like for women in entertainment. They've proven that success doesn't have to be tied to one label. They're rewriting the rules. Industry professionals also note that by running separate agencies, Both stars opened the door to more flexible collaborations, not just with each other, but with global brands, filmmakers, and international networks. The emotional side, what fans fear most. Still, not everyone can ignore the emotional weight of this change. For years, FreenBecky's connection wasn't just professional, it was personal. Fans saw their laughter, comfort, and mutual admiration. Now, the idea of seeing them pursue separate projects feels bittersweet. Some fans worry that new management might mean fewer joint appearances, while others remain confident that both will find ways to keep the connection alive. One touching fan comment read, "Even if they work under different roofs, the foundation they built together will always stand." Could this be a strategic move for a bigger reunion? Among the most intriguing fan theories is the idea that this separation might actually be a setup for something bigger, possibly a future joint production. Several analysts believe that by creating their own agencies, both Freen and Becky gain equal creative power. This could allow them to co-produce projects without the limitations of third-party management. One popular theory even claims they've already discussed a new series or event that will reunite them under their own terms, symbolizing unity through independence. They've always been one step ahead of everyone else, a fan noted. What if this is their way of controlling their narrative? The future of FreenBecky, still side by side. Despite all the speculation, both Freen and Becky have repeatedly expressed their gratitude toward their supporters. In separate interviews following the announcement, both hinted that collaboration isn't off the table. Freen said softly during a fan meet, "Change doesn't erase what's real. It just helps it grow." Becky, when asked about working with Freen again, smiled and said, "We'll see each other soon." The room erupted in applause. For fans, those few words were enough to restore faith. Final thoughts. Not the end, just a new chapter. The launch of their agencies may have changed the structure of their careers, but it hasn't broken the bond that made FreenBecky one of the most beloved duos in recent memory. They began as co-stars. They became partners in growth. And now, they stand as individuals who continue to inspire millions. In a world where separation is often misunderstood as loss, Freen and Becky have shown something different, that evolution can coexist with love, and independence can still honor connection. Whether they appear on the same stage again or chart their own paths, one truth remains: the FreenBecky story is far from over. It's simply entering a new era, one where they don't just follow a script. They write it themselves.